This is, in a way, sometimes my favorite season, but it's also missing a few things. There are limited songs and music, and singing is my favorite part of this. And all of the readings today focused on the idea of sin and the idea of mistakes. I know I've made more than enough of my mistakes in my day.
Me too.
This shouldn't be, yes you have, this shouldn't be a day of focusing on mistakes. It should be a day of recognizing ourselves, our needs, who we are, what we are. Catherine and I had a wonderful little trip back yesterday, and on our way to the airport, Michael was driving, and I reminded my brother that Lent is coming, and joking around, what are you giving up for Lent? And I said, Mom and I are giving up drinking and smoking. And Kitty burst out, no, I'm not. I've given up enough in my life. We all laughed. And I agree with that. This isn't so much about giving up things that we enjoy, or things that don't harm us. It's about giving up things that don't serve us. It's giving up things that allow us to open up our hearts to other things, to God, to being a little bit different. We had a crew of workers on the block earlier today cutting down trees. 4 men working very hard, and I had come down early to set up, and then I had to go back up, and I was in collar, and I came back, and they followed me down, unbeknownst to me, and knocked on the door, and had some trouble with the language, and said, Sybil, can Ash? Of course. And they all lined up. I asked their names, and I blessed them all. They left, and as I was cleaning up, I walked back there, and even though Isabella put money in that basket, and you're so delightful, they had left money in secret. They left alms to God. Workers who I am sure make very, very little money.
God works in mysterious ways.
Indeed. Indeed, Carlos, well said. This idea of ashes is, although biblical in a way, ashes are mentioned in a number of passages. In Job will lay on a pile of ashes. Matthew will talk about fasting and the hypocrites. Genesis will talk about the idea, from dust you are born, and from dust you will return. John will talk about the idea that Jesus stood in the midst and said unto them, peace be with you, when the disciples were there, and they were blessed. This idea of giving ashes to people, however, did not begin until the year 1091. It was by Pope Urban II. And he had the idea of blessing both the laity and the clergy in a way of showing your faith to the world. Sounds like a great idea, although he would later start the Crusades after he came up with this wonderful idea. It was also the birth of the old Catholic Church. This is the separation of 2 popes, one in France and one in Rome, and the creation of different ways of looking at things, different ways of being accepted by God and understanding God. If you went to our website today or this week, you would have noticed a symbol that is there, and it's called Glitter Ash Wednesday. Extremely controversial. It is an organization in New York City that's been around for a number of years. And they quote St. Augustine in their teachings. The idea that we cannot despair and become paralyzed or thwarted by being repentant and by sin. That the changes we are called to make are a call to love, a call to openness, a call to goodness. This particular group, called Parity, suggested that churches throughout the world sprinkle a bit of purple glitter in the sacred ashes. And as you all know, these ashes come from the palms from last Palm Sunday. They are burnt and turned into a sacramental. Even though I just bless them, I can bless anything. I can bless people, that chair. I bless Holy Communion very shortly. But this idea of putting a little bit of purple glitter to show the world that not only are you a proud Catholic, but that you want to stand with others against intolerance. You want to make a difference in the world to say, no one should be restricted from the altar of God. No one should be denied communion. And as much as I love the Catholic Church, sadly, Pope Urban II and the Crusades started the example of fighting for things that maybe shouldn't be fought for. So today, after communion, we will celebrate Ash Wednesday with only a tiny little bit of glitter to show the world we're proud to be Catholic. And we're proud to stand up for people who have sadly been oppressed for far too long. May God bless you all.